everyone can find 5 minutes to learn. You've probably heard that before, and I know I have, and it always makes me wonder if the person who came up with it has ever had a real job. Like a job where they had to do what someone else told them to do, rather than just sharing ideas. Most people do not have control over their time at work. They're in back-to-back meetings, hitting production targets, dealing with customers, or managing crises that are very rarely of their own making. And the idea that they can just magic up 5 minutes assumes they have control over their day that they simply don't. But we love this story in L&D, because when training doesn't work, we can blame the individual. They're not motivated enough. They don't care about learning. It's not a priority to them. We need a learning culture. That last one's hilarious and probably the topic of another video incoming. But overall, it just paints this wonderfully perfect picture. When failed training programs are the fault of everyone except the people who designed them, that's us. The real problem, of course, is our obsession with the individual. The idea that one person learning one thing and then applying it impacts organisational performance is a joke. We've known better for so long. We've known for decades where performance problems actually come from. Back in the 70s, people like Thomas Gilbert were studying why some people perform better than others. And what they found was that environmental factors, such as tools and systems and the support that people have or have access to, account for most of the difference in performance, not the knowledge in people's heads. Rumler from the same period put it brilliantly. Put a good performer against a bad system, and the system wins almost every time. Yet, here we are. Still designing training like the main barrier to performance is that people haven't been to the right workshop or completed the right e-learning. If they just do one more assessment, they'll be there. We send people on customer service training, then return them to systems that make good customer service impossible to provide. We teach collaboration, then reward people based on individual targets. Then we develop leadership skills and punish anyone who tries to lead any kind of change. The environment defeats the training every single time the two come into conflict. Gilbert's work showed us that if you want to improve performance, you start with the environment, not the individual. To be clear, that doesn't mean never train anyone again. It means start with the environment, and when you've done everything you can there, progress to training the individual. His research proved that the biggest performance gains come from giving people better information, clearer expectations, and just removing barriers that make good work difficult. More recently, Newport, in his work entitled In a World Without Email, shows how our work environment often prevents the very performance we claim to want. We actively create systems that fragment attention, then wonder why people can't focus on anything. The evidence is overwhelming and has been for a long, long time. Most performance problems are environmental, not down to the individual. Now, so far, I've done a fair bit of complaining and perhaps even some finger pointing. So, let's be productive and dive into what we can actually be doing now we've acknowledged this reality. Before we design any kind of training, map the actual work environment. That's the actual work environment, not what senior leadership and stakeholders believe the environment to be. Figure out what barriers exist that might prevent someone from applying what they've learned. What systems reward the wrong behaviour, and I guarantee you there are plenty of those. And where are the friction points that make good performance difficult? Sometimes the solution isn't training. In fact, most of the time the solution is not training, thank goodness. Sometimes it's much more effective to replace or improve software, clear up processes, or just straight up remove obstacles. Yes, this is harder than designing a workshop or any e-learning we've ever made. It means working cross-functionally. It means challenging existing systems and power dynamics and admitting that people often aren't the problem. But if you want performance improvement that actually sticks, you have to fix the environment first. So for us, in L&D, it's all about stepping away from all this nonsense around everyone has 5 minutes to learn and learning is the answer to all issues, and instead focusing on the real-world barriers to performance. Let me know down in the comments what environmental barrier you've seen preventing good performance. I'll drop some comments in there with some links to great resources like Human Competence by Thomas Gilbert and A World Without Email by Cal Newport. Two fantastic reads on this subject that I would say that everyone working in L&D today should have a look at.